The wind cuts across the rugged Scandinavian cliffs, carrying the smell of salt, wood, and smoke. You feel it against your skin, a sharp whisper of life and death intertwined. This is the North, a land where gods are feared as much as they are worshipped, and where destiny is not written. It is carved from the sweat, blood, and cunning of men. Now, imagine you are born here, not as any ordinary child, but as Floki, the boatbuilder, the eccentric, the man whose mind dances with both brilliance and madness. But in this world, fate has twisted itself. Floki is born as Ragnar Lothbrok, the legendary Viking, the chieftain, the hero of endless sagas. At first, everything seems normal. The village stretches along the fjord. Long houses lined with carved wooden dragons, smoke curling from the chimneys, fires crackling in the hearths. Children run with wooden swords, women spin wool, men sharpen axes and repair their ships. The rules here are simple, yet absolute. Strength commands respect, cunning ensures survival, and honor defines your place among your people. Life is harsh, yes, but it is ordered, predictable in its unpredictability. Yet beneath the calm, the world hums with tension. This is a culture of extremes. Every feast is a competition of courage, every raid a test of strategy, and every word spoken is measured for loyalty and deceit. And within this world, the mind of Floki is not ordinary. It is a mind that sees angles where others see straight paths, that hears the silent rhythm of the sea and the whispered mutterings of gods. Here, as Ragnar, Floki's intellect and intuition become a double-edged sword. Where Ragnar would inspire unity, Floki's visions provoke obsession. Where Ragnar would charm allies, Floki's mercurial moods plant seeds of suspicion. The village thrives under his early guidance. Ships are faster, raids more daring, and victories sweeter. Floki Ragnar is revered, a chieftain who seems guided by prophecy itself. He rebuilds the docks, carves vessels unlike any seen before, each a masterpiece of engineering and terror. Yet, as always, genius carries its shadows. Some villagers whisper that the man who builds gods' homes is too comfortable speaking with gods themselves. Others notice how quickly his moods swing, how a moment of joy can be shattered by visions of destruction. Life in this world is a rhythm, and Floki Ragnar dances to it in ways others cannot follow. He studies the tides, reads the flight of birds, listens to the river's secrets. Where Ragnar would rely on diplomacy or brute force, Floki Ragnar trusts intuition, sometimes with devastating consequences. Raids that could have been triumphant falter under unexpected calamities, not because of lack of skill, but because of obsession with some hidden detail only he understands. Villagers begin to see cracks in the veneer of certainty, the first subtle signs that balance can be upended. And then there is love, or what passes for it in this brutal world. Floki Ragnar is drawn to Lagertha, a shield maiden whose courage and strength mirror the clarity of the North itself. Yet, unlike Ragnar, he is unable to temper his visions with human emotion. Where Ragnar could inspire loyalty with words and deeds, Floki Ragnar's mind runs ahead of his body and his heart. Love becomes complicated by obsession, strategy, and prophecy. Friendships fracture under suspicion. Alliances crumble under indecipherable schemes. The village, the fjord, the sea itself begin to shift in response. Subtle cracks appear in the systems that once seemed unbreakable. Raids that once brought wealth now risk lives unnecessarily. Internal rivalries fester, fueled by mistrust. Even the gods seem silent or perhaps indifferent to the rising tension. The longer Floki Ragnar lives, the more the delicate balance of the world bends under his intellect and eccentricity. It is here that tragedy begins to take shape, not as a single moment, but as a slow, inevitable crescendo. The brilliance that once inspired fear and admiration now becomes a liability. A daring raid, intended to cement his legend, collapses in chaos. Allies are lost, enemies emboldened, and the village feels the first real sting of mortality. Floki Ragnar retreats into solitude, building, carving, and imagining solutions that no one else can understand, as if he alone can restore what he has unintentionally broken. And yet, in his isolation, he discovers the cruelest truth of all. Genius without restraint is a fragile weapon. Power, when guided by vision alone and not tempered by empathy, leads to ruin. The village teeters on the brink of collapse, not because of the strength of its enemies, but because the very brilliance that once sustained it has become its undoing. Floki Ragnar sees it, understands it, yet cannot escape it. Like Icarus, he has flown too close to the sun of his own mind. The final turning point comes not with thunder, but with silence. A storm gathers off the coast, waves taller than houses, wind howling through the cliffs. Floki Ragnar stands atop his tallest ship, eyes scanning the horizon, mind calculating, heart pounding. In that instant, the audience, us, realizes the full weight of the story. It is not the enemies who define the outcome, nor the gods, nor fate itself. It is the human mind, brilliant, obsessive, and flawed. The very qualities that make a hero can, if left unchecked, become the seeds of tragedy. And as the storm breaks and the first splintered waves crash against the hull, Floki Ragnar understands the ultimate lesson. The world does not bend to genius alone. Strength is not enough without humility. Vision is meaningless without connection to those around you. And the pursuit of glory, unchecked, can turn even the most legendary figure into a cautionary tale. The aftermath is quiet. The village rebuilds, the fjord calms, and life resumes its rhythm. Fragile but persistent. Floki Ragnar is remembered, not just as a hero, but as a reminder of the delicate balance between brilliance and hubris, between inspiration and obsession. And in the silence, in the cold, sharp air of the north, the truth lingers. Power is transient, genius is double-edged, and human nature is a landscape as wild and unpredictable as the seas themselves. What would the world have been like if Floki had lived as Ragnar? Perhaps it would have reached heights no one could imagine. Or perhaps it would have collapsed under the weight of his own mind. Perhaps both. Perhaps all greatness is haunted by the shadow of its own flaws. And as you sit there, listening to the wind and imagining the clash of axes and the roar of the sea, you realize something vital about life, ambition, and the nature of human stories. The line between hero and tragic figure is thinner than a ship's plank, and sometimes it is drawn by the mind itself. In the end, the lesson is both simple and infinite. Power is seductive, brilliance intoxicating, yet the world does not bend solely to the will of one. Civilization, society, even the smallest village, requires a harmony between mind, heart, and action. And when genius is left unchecked, it teaches us something that history always whispers. The brightest flame casts the darkest shadow. So imagine the north again, the fjords, the longhouses, the smell of smoke and salt. Imagine Floki Ragnar standing atop a ship, eyes gleaming with vision, mind racing ahead of the world. And as the wind howls through the cliffs, ask yourself, what do we do with brilliance? How do we temper vision with humanity? And in our own lives, are we heroes? Or are we walking the edge of our own hubris? Waiting for the storm to remind us that every gift carries its own price. The north is quiet now. The waves lap gently against the shore. The fires burn low in the longhouses. And somewhere, far beyond the fjord, the mind of Floki Ragnar dreams on, brilliant, dangerous, and unforgettable.